Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up the football guys. Wake up this morning. It is Saturday. It is the 1st of August, July. Another month bites the dust. And we sit 43 days, 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 25 seconds away from kickoff against the Los Angeles Rams, hopefully in Los Angeles. There's no guarantees on this season, and this season is like none other. It's amazing that literally it's only been a week that the star has been opened up for players, actually for the rookies, opening up last Saturday. To think that we're into August, you know, we were originally supposed to be playing the Hall of Fame game on the 6th. Yeah, that's how crazy this is. And it's kind of a disappointment because I thought I would be out in Oxnard right now watching practice. You'll remember that Dak Prescott got his birthday, you know, everybody's cheering for his birthday at training camp. And here we are dealing with this pandemic that's kind of changed everything. But hopefully we can get some things going. The good news, of course, for the Dallas Cowboys is thus far, since the testing began the Tuesday before, nobody else has been added to the list, and very few throughout the NFL thus far have been added. So we can hope and pray that this trend continues. In the meantime, we can start talking about everything that is with the Cowboys and what we hope for in the season. Rule number one, or thing number one this season more than ever, is keep everybody healthy. And last year going into training camp, we know we had a bunch of people that were rehabbing, you know, D-Law with his shoulder. We had Zeke Elliott in Cabo. We had Randall Cobb dealing with the plantar fasciitis. We had Tyrone Crawford dealing with, you know, his hip injuries and things. We had a lot of guys that were not quite ready to start the season. This year we're actually in a better shape than we were last year, which is great news. Now, interestingly enough, we had a great live stream last night, and Aaron Wojciechowski, okay, I'll go ahead and put it in the community tab. Make sure you email me with your address, because we've got our new Joe Boo glasses here, and we gave away 3 last night. A-Lord had the funniest comment last night, so we gave him one. Troy Daniels and Aaron Wojciechowski. So I'm going to get those in the mail on Monday for you guys. So make sure, Aaron, email me, cowboysmark94@gmail, so that way we can get that taken care of to you. And any channel members, we had a couple that joined last night. Make sure you email me as well, so that way I can get you your shot glass. Krista Freeland yesterday tweeted out something that was very interesting to me, and it was kind of like, it perked my ears up. If I were a dog, I'd be like, what? She said that the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not sure who she was talking about, I would like to know who she's talking about, have one of the best analytics personnel in the NFL, if not the best, on their staff. And if that's the case, I hope and pray that we get beyond the Jason Garrett era, the era that we, thank God, survived. But Jason Garrett didn't believe in in-game analysis, didn't believe in analytics. You know, you have to understand, with Jason Garrett, everything was a gut feeling, and his gut feeling was run Zeke. And it didn't get creative. When you start thinking about the great quarterbacks and the great offenses out there in the NFL, you seem to see guys that are masterminds. Andy Reid, who, you know, Donovan McNabb, Alex Smith, you know, Pat Mahomes. At some point, do you say that they were all great quarterbacks because they were great on their own, or were they also great because they had a great mind in teaching them? You could see the drop-off of Alex Smith from, you know, Andy Reid to the Redskins. So it wasn't like that talent translated immediately to the Redskins. And that's where you start looking at some of these guys. We're going to find out, is it Bill Belichick or is it Tom Brady? Because the interesting thing with Bill Belichick is every quarterback that has started their first game with him has always won. Wish we could say that about a Jason Garrett offense. You think about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll again, he was one of the first ones to use the pistol offense with Russell Wilson, and realizing the talents that Russell Wilson had, not only with his arm, but also with his legs as well. You look at Harbaugh. Harbaugh went against the regular narrative of pocket quarterback, having a guy who already won a Super Bowl for him, and said, you know what, we're going to take Lamar Jackson and we're going to create something really, really new. And you see teams that are successful, that's one of the ingredients that they've done. You have a mastermind that understands how you have to change and evolve to each game and each situation. You can't have a one formula that's going to work all the time, but you got to be able to change on the fly, and that here in lies the problem of the Dallas Cowboys. When things were clicking with the Cowboys offense, they could run with anybody. But when they had somebody to figure out how to stop that game plan, they weren't able to roll into something else. So if that is the case, that we do have somebody who understands analytics, and having Mike McCarthy, who was off for a year, who just studied film and getting to know all of these different teams and aspects and stuff, and now having a coaching staff that has an NFL perception, as opposed to everybody who was a former Cowboy coach or player, you're getting more of a worldview. You've got guys from San Francisco and Miami and from New Orleans. You've got guys that have been around and see things from different angles. Because when you're dealing with the problem, if we all come from the same space, the same school, the same thing, we're all pretty much going to analyze that problem the same way. But if you've had to learn differently, you have somebody with an outside view, they may see the same thing that you see, and they say, well, you know what, this is what we used to do when we had that problem. And it's like, oh, we never thought about that. So that's where I'm excited about this new coaching staff. Now, to me, also, another thing that's kind of interesting is, it seems like on an every other day basis, we hear about Giovanni and Clowney interested in another team. We heard about interested with the Cowboys. We heard him interested about, the Eagles. We heard him interested about maybe New Orleans. We heard him interested about going back to Seattle. Well, Seattle makes the big move for Jamal Adams, and to say, you know what, we're good. The Cowboys, nah, that's too much money. We ain't thought about that. We didn't get Dak Prescott signed. Eagles, of course, if you listen to Philly 500, that guy wants to have, everybody. Yeah, he'd definitely take him. And then we heard that Clowney was interested in the Jets. So, how many teams do you really and truly love here? The Jets came back and said, no, we're not really interested in him as well. And it's amazing because he started off the offseason figuring that he was going to be getting that $22-23 million deal. But coming off of that 3-sack season where he ended up taking his time showing up to the Texans for training camp, traded to Seattle, which was a prove-it year. It was a prove-it year. It ended up with 3 sacks. And right now, teams are kind of like, nah, it's too much more blood. And even with him saying that, I'll take a 1-year deal and reduce the rate, his stock seems to have fallen off a cliff. Now, there are players out there. I'm still surprised that Emerson Griffin hasn't signed somebody else. And you're now looking at teams, for example, New England, which had no cash. Because they have players that are opting out, all of a sudden it's flush with cash. They now have $24 million in cap space. And there's a couple other teams that, because they've had players that have opted out, that have more cap room as well. So there's money that is around out there if teams want to go ahead and sign it. But I think a lot of the teams are still kind of playing a wait-and-see attitude to see if we can really get this thing going before they'll bite. And I'm sure Clowney will be on a team before, if we have a season before it's all said and done with. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, I'm okay with what we have going into camp. I think we've improved in some areas. You can never have enough great players, but I look at our offense, and we really do have every position covered. Our defense, well, there's still the questions at safety, but, a lot of times, there's players that you don't know until they make a name for themselves. And they can't make a name for themselves until they get an opportunity. And that's where I think we are with our defense. We have a lot of guys that we don't know right now, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to become a star. So kick back, relax. NBA is back. There's going to be some great games this weekend. And, you know, however much football we have, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm tired of hearing people constantly saying, you know, get it through your head, we're not going to have a season. You know what? That may be the case. That may be the case. And when they decide, or if they decide that we're going to cancel the season, I will deal with it then. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the idea of my team playing football come 43 days, 11 hours, and 1 minute from now in LA. And instead of doom and gloom, maybe you should try and enjoy things a little bit more. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, I got to go get walking. Got to get 13,000, I think 750 steps today with the wife. Whew. Believe it or not, over 400,000 steps for August. 400,000 steps. That's 182 miles. Not bad for a fat ass. I'll see you guys later.